You're going to go through things that you can't even imagine, nightmares, sleepless nights, pain, agony, anger, frustration, greed, all of these emotions that trading brings out of you. And when you experience them and you experience a hardship in the markets or you take a L, if you don't believe in yourself and your ability to bounce back from those losses or learn from them, then you're going to crumble and you're going to fall under the pressure. How are you, man? It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. I we always said we would drink a scotch together. I don't know if you brought one, but I brought one right here.
I unfortunately have no scotch in my house at this current moment in time, but now I feel really bad because I didn't get the memo. I could have totally gone and got some scotch.
I should have let you know ahead of time. My bad.
It's all right, bro. We're gonna have our glass of scotch together with a fat victory cigar. Um, what's going on, everybody? Real quick, I'll just do an intro. I want this to be kind of informal. I'm not gonna chop this up or edit it in any way. So, welcome to the CYPRX YouTube platform. As always, bringing you guys the realest information and research. In today's video breakdown, we have a very special guest. I don't know if you all remember. One of our CYPRX superior traders, Justin Barnes, has been with us for some period of time now and has just reached a significant milestone in his investing and trading career by becoming a fully profitable trader. So with that being said, we're going to jump into some interesting topics today, just diving in and picking the brains of Justin, again, a good friend of mine, a really phenomenal trader and investor. And we're going to just kind of pick apart his brain and see what kind of insights he can give to you all as to this crazy market landscape that we're operating in now. So what's up, Justin, man? How are you, brother?
I'm very good, man. It feels really good to finally accomplish this goal, dude. I feel like I've been so close so many times, and I've just had things out of my control. Like the one prop for my forex funds, died when I had two accounts, and I was like locked in, and then I had funding pips do the same thing. I was
Yeah.
like, man, is God ever going to let me do this? But we did it, man. We did it.
Yeah, it's been an interesting environment that we're operating in right now in the forex space. I mean, I've been dealing with it the pretty much the vast majority of my trading and investing career, but I myself as well lost a $200,000 account with my funded FX. So, yeah, it's been an interesting time over the past couple of months where I want to talk about the environment that we operate in now. This is kind of like off script, off topic, some of the questions that I sent you, but what do you think is happening right now? Do you think that we're entering into, all the stuff that we research in the CyberX chat? Do you really firmly believe that something catastrophic is about to happen to the United States? What do you see happening in the near future, not only with Forex, but more so oriented towards crypto and everything that's going on in the space right now? Kind of just give your 2 cents on the macro. What do you think? What do you see happening in the world?
um, yeah, great question, man.
Your laugh says it all. That's all that needs to be said.
What a sender right there. Yeah, man, probably not the best outlook in my perspective. I think some bad things could potentially happen, especially if the economy, like I see it kind of firsthand, even with my job and, car sales. People are definitely scared to spend money. People are not as 3 years ago, everyone was gung ho to buy a car, didn't care what it costs, and now people are more timid, more scared. Um, Lots of layoffs. Like my wife's company laid off 10% of the workforce, which is really significant because they're a Fortune 100 company, and lots of companies are doing the same. So things are definitely, getting bleaker in the short term here.
Yeah, I remember you texting me about that a couple of weeks ago, and when you texted it to me, I was worried that she was affected. Thank God you told me that she wasn't. So that's good to hear. So we'll get into some of these topics at hand to save time. Um, I think one of the first ones is we'll kind of just do like a little bit of an intro. What is Justin's why? Why did you begin trading? And give a realistic perspective. How long did it take you to become profitable? Why did you start trading? Where are you at in your investing career now? And what did you just accomplish?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like a lot of people, I kind of got into trading during COVID. Um, I'd begun the car sales journey. I was into it for a couple years, and the whole time of being in car sales, I was pretty successful and was making good money. But I wanted to find ways to make more money on top of the good money I was making. Plus, I didn't want to just work 60 hours a week for the rest of my life until I died. So I wanted to figure out what I could do. And I got into stocks and stuff and crypto a little bit. Then during lockdown, I was physically stuck in my house because the dealership shut down. There was no one going to work. And I was like, well, shit, if I can't go into work and make money, how else could I make money? And I'd already started trading stocks and crypto and stuff. That's when I wanted to, take to the next level. And then a year later is when I started being really, really serious. Like, okay, like I want to really learn how to trade. And I stumbled upon your page, ironically enough, when I just randomly YouTubed Casper technical analysis. And
I remember
I
that. I
always
remember that.
remember I always remember your page had like 150 views on it. Like, yeah, man, this video is probably gonna suck, but I'll watch it anyway to get some laughs. And I watched it and I was like, okay, I think this dude might know what he's talking about. Let me watch some more. And then after a couple weeks of watching every single YouTube video you had, I bought the course.
I love it, man. All right, cool. So that's kind of like how you got started. What's Justin's why? We covered, kind of you wanted to do it to make a little bit of extra money. But is there, a support mechanism behind that? You have family that you're trying to free from the system financially, whatever the case may be. Like what makes you um wake up in the morning motivated to continue to trade in this investing and trading game?
For sure. Yeah, biggest motivator is my wife and my daughter, of course. I always, envision in my head like one day that I'll be able to do this and not have to work as many hours so I can be home more to, homeschool my daughter, be home with her more, be home with my wife more, and make enough money that we can be comfortable and, travel whenever we want, do the things we want to do. Maybe not necessarily have, Lambos and stuff. I just want to be, financially free and happy to do what I want when we want. And if
We'll
we
get
can get
in,
a Lambo out of it, that's cool.
we might get into the Lambo conversation on this call, but yeah, that's awesome, man. So many people get so like they come into this space and they want to free themselves from the 9 to 5 job, they don't want to work a whole bunch of hours and put in a whole bunch of time and effort into trading, and they want to kind of get rich quick. I actually think it's interesting because trading kind of requires you at the beginning stages to sacrifice a lot of time to learning, accumulating information, staying up late, taking trades, taking losses, spending a lot of time understanding and building this craft. And only when you get to a certain stage in your investing and trading career does it become something that requires a lot less time. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't really fully grasp when they come in. They think that they're going to download some application, take some course, and it's going to be some overnight process. They're going to become successful in a month. And then when they're 3 months in, 6 months in, a year in, and they still don't have results, that's what really gets individuals witted out of this market. It's because they didn't really comprehend that it was a process. It was going to be something that was going to require them 8 hour days, 9 hour days, 10 hour days, accumulating information, even if it's throughout the entirety of the day. And then actually applying that information that they're accumulating to the live markets, which also takes time. So, I think that that's interesting. One of the questions that I had written down for you was that um, personally, what I've seen in the market space as a mentor and having been a mentor for the past 3 years, which I honestly don't know how much longer I'm going to do it for because sometimes it holds me back from some things that I need to personally take care of in my life because I'm so fixated on the community and I'm always trying to help people out. But I see so many individuals on the internet come into this space fixated on some magic indicator, some magic success button, some magic whatever influencers online are selling. What do you, if you were to give advice to somebody or you were to say, hey, this is what it requires to become successful, what would those metrics, what would those characteristic traits, what would those features be for you? What do people need really to be successful in this space?
For sure, man. Great question. Really what it comes down to is you need to learn from someone, of course, that knows what they're talking about. But even beyond that, you need to the back test and do it on your own for a very long time. And I remember writing this in my journal maybe like a year and a half ago, that I need to stop trading like you, or trading like Emiliano, or trading like anybody else. I need to trade like myself. And once I started looking for setups to like, yeah, man, this is a setup I really like. This is something I could really like. I have a high success rate with trading this style, this pattern, whatever you want to call it. And I trusted myself in my analysis to say, hey, this is a Justin Barnes setup that I'm confident with. I need to take it, and don't take the ones that weren't my style. Because for a long time I took trades that maybe someone else told me they liked taking, or some EMA crossover that they saw and had success with, and then I would lose these trades, and I was like, why did I even take that trade, man? Like, it wasn't even like my type of setup. That was someone else's type of setup. So once I really stuck to my style and trading how I like to trade, instead of listening what other people's maybe setup would be, that's when I started being a lot better.
Yeah, I definitely fell victim to that as well. I think the whole signals environment really gets to people. They see a successful trader, they see them always making money, whatever the case may be, and they think that they could just copy their trades and become the same person. And that's the farthest thing from the truth. You guys just heard it from a profitable trader. I think one thing that we share amongst the private community a lot is to focus on your own successes and not so much orient your attention towards competing with other people, really just focusing on setting yourself goals that are attainable and achievable. And then, really filing in and dialing your attention to those goals, not focused on what everybody else is doing. Um, it's kind of hard at the end of the day because you see other people making money and our natural greed tendency kind of kicks in and we're like, oh, well, we think we can do the same. But that's the farthest thing from the truth.
Yep.
One thing that I suffered from when I first started trading is I used to bounce from these signals groups, and I thought that that was it. It would work for me for a month or two, and I'd be like, "Oh, this is the magic secret sauce." Um, and then they would have 10 losing trades in a row, and I'd be like, "What the heck is going on?" And it wasn't until I zoomed out and I was like, "Okay, let me just figure out what I'm doing wrong." And then try not to do those things again over a consistent period of time. And that's when I started really seeing some results in my trading by analyzing what I was doing wrong, collecting that data, coming back to the market another day, and then trying to um, implement a strategy where I didn't make those mistakes again, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, that's good. I think too, because the overall question was just what do you think people need to have in the form of characteristic traits to become successful? I think people need to have a belief in themselves. Like if you don't believe in yourself, I know that it's kind of hard to come by sometimes, especially if you've never been an entrepreneur, you've never taken business ownership on your own before, or especially if you're a younger person and you've lived with your parents your whole entire life. But you really have to have a deep connection and a deep understanding of yourself because you're going to go through hell. You're going to go through things that you can't even imagine, nightmares, sleepless nights, pain, agony, anger, frustration, greed, all of these emotions that trading brings out of you. And when you experience them and you experience a hardship in the markets or you take a L, if you don't believe in yourself and your ability to bounce back from those losses or learn from them, then you're going to crumble and you're going to fall under the pressure. So you really have to have a firm belief in yourself that you can overcome whatever trial and tribulation you're going through. And if you don't, then stop trading. Get out of the markets, stop investing, stop thinking you're going to get lucky because you're just going to lose money, burn through your capital over a prolonged period of time. Um, so yeah, those were good responses. Let's jump into the whole social media realm real quick. Okay. So considering the environment in which you operate in now, you're fully profitable on your own accord, obviously, of course, by learning the CYPRX strategy, but applying it in a way that is comfortable for you to understand it. Um, what what's the social media environment like? What has your experience with social media been? And what's your perspective on it now? Like, what's your perspective on influencers? And what advice would you give to people that are brand new coming into this market when getting the vast majority of their information from the internet?
Yeah, so I guess to go back a few years, when I got into crypto in like 2018, and then, eventually I started watching YouTube videos. And during the bull run, of course, everyone was a genius, and most of the crypto influencers were right because everything was just going up. So I was like, oh, cool, like these guys know what they're talking about. And then eventually the market started going down and they're telling you, oh, it's going to go up, it's going to go up. And you kept getting dumped on and dumped on. I was like, well, maybe these guys don't necessarily know as much as I may have thought. And then I started following you, of course, and joined the course and learning about the proper way to do technical analysis, but also the psychology of everything about not chasing pumps and chasing emotions, event essentially. And now fast forward in time, I really don't use social media too much anymore, except to follow you and maybe a couple other people and my close friends. But most of social media space is really toxic. A lot of people just constantly shilling things to probably pad their own pockets and make money on their own accord, even if it costs other people money. And it's just really, you have to be really careful to follow people that are trustworthy and not just follow, the $500,000 Twitter accounts that are constantly pumping, their own bags essentially.
Yeah, it's really hard being a an honest influencer in this space. The views are low. People don't really pay attention to the information that we put out because the honest stuff is kind of boring, you know?
Yeah.
Um, what's one thing that you notice that's different about CyPRX and the information that we provide compared to other influencers? Just in a nutshell, what's one thing that you say separates our community from other communities?
Kind of like what you just said. I mean, obviously, I find everything you say to be very valuable and very interesting, but it is kind of, boring compared to what other people are saying with their hopium chilling. Like, you're going to be a millionaire, you're going to be rich.
Yeah.
You're very factual and educational. Like, we're reading PDFs, we're reading what people that actually have the power and the insight are actually saying to actually have factual information, which, reading PDFs honestly isn't very freaking fun, but you're going to gather way more from that than you are watching some guy on YouTube
But
just
it's
saying, yep,
necessary, right? It's
it's necessary.
necessary, man. I'm telling you, some of
Yeah.
the stuff that's in the CyPrX course, even down to the fundamental breakdowns, man. It's like if you're not familiarizing yourself with the space in which you operate in, if you're not trying to be the most highly intellectual person in this space that's trading up against the smartest algorithms in the world, how on earth do you think you're going to survive? By luck over
Yeah.
I don't get people, man, but they do. They have that mindset. They think it's almost like you go through trading in stages. It's like you're like this little baby turtle that's like waddling to the water, and the water comes and hits you, and it's just a massive wave, and you get washed all the way back to the very top of the sand dune, and you got to start all over again. And that's like trading. It's like you think you know everything, you come in, boom, you get wrecked, and then you have to kind of start all over and from square root what you did wrong, what you did right. And following influencers is a big part of that. I don't know if I've ever kind of explained to you this story, but I got scammed hardcore with a company called Astro FX back in the early days of their whole debacle back in like 2017, 2018 timeframe. Um, it's actually really hard to find honest people in the form of influencers on the internet that actually know what they're talking about. Um, I would ask the question, how do you weed that out? But it really just comes down to recognizing real and through trial and error. If you're in a community and they're not that accurate, they're not really putting out valuable information before price action moves, right? They're
Yep.
probably not a community that you should follow. I think one of the key things that we focus on here at CyPRX is actually telling our community things before we see massive price action fluctuations, you know? and calling
100%.
yeah, and calling these things out accurate, not because we use some magic Fibonacci, not because we use some magic indicator, but because we use our logical understanding about how these markets work, coupled with fundamentals, coupled with psychology, coupled with all these things like technical analysis in a layering effect that gives us an edge in the market. And that's what people don't want to soak up. It's like you said, it's boring. It's 10,000 hours of the hard work nobody wants to put in. So we'll move on. I have this question. If somebody asks you to describe what trading is like and sought advice on getting started, what would you tell them?
Man, that's a brutal question. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life, without a shadow of a doubt. Like I went to college, I got really
Hold
good
on, hold on, hold
grades.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Has trading made you cry?
I cried one time, yeah.
It's
In my
made me
life.
cry. It's made me cry, bro. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, you know?
Dude, it's so freaking hard, man. Like, not I don't hope this doesn't sound cocky or anything, but most things I've ever done, like I've caught on to pretty quickly and done pretty well. Like sports, I was always really good. College, I got really good grades. Like I did bodybuilding. I won my first ever competition, won my first ever powerlifting competition. So when I got the course and I did trading, I was like, all I gotta do is try really hard, and probably in a couple months I'll be doing really good and making a lot of money, and it's gonna be no big deal. And yeah, dude, like 2 years later, we're finally here,
Yeah.
and like actually passing, it was like such a crazy feeling. Like, wow, man, like you really did it. You really freaking did it. You never gave up, even though you wanted to quit a couple times. And it's the hardest thing I've ever done, but it's very worth it. And I'm very happy I never quit.
Sweet. So when I know that there's going to be people watching and they're like, passing what? To put it in a nutshell, Justin used to trade forex because of the whole forex debacle that took place in the United States, where prop firms were going under left and right, and then they started switching their platform from MetaTrader over to DX Trade. Justin started trading futures. He started trading oil contracts, and that is now where he sits utilizing prop firms in the futures markets trading oil. So just for reference, when he says he passed a fully funded challenge. I believe now you're going to be managing $50,000, right?
Yep, I got a $50,000 account doing oil, like you said.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting too because we're going to be on this call and right now we're talking about $50,000 and knowing you and knowing your capabilities in this market, that's only just the beginning, So I'm sure that in the next couple of months, maybe even years, Justin's going to be trading a lot more capital than $50,000. Um,
100%.
yeah, so one of the okay, let's just dial back because you're talking about hardships. We're talking about some of the things, the setbacks that you experience in trading. What is, if you want to share it, what is one of the hardest things in your trading career, whether it was personal, in your personal life that happened to you, a setback, something that really blew you away, made you feel like you wanted to quit, whatever the case may be, or maybe it was something in your trading, and then kind of talk us through how you were able to overcome that. Did you have friends, family support? Um, did you have support from the community? Whatever the case may be, how did you get through that trial and tribulation? How did you get to where you are today, having experienced a really crappy thing in your life?
For sure. I guess to take it to the beginning, when I first got the course, I had left the car business and I was just personal training at a gym. And I was personal training at the gym, in the afternoon, so like 12 to 7 p.m. my time. So I was able to get up in the morning each day, do my reading of myself, trading in the zone or whatever book I was reading, and do my back testing, read the news, and then actually trade. And then over time, I of course hadn't passed and wasn't making money from trading it. So I was like, well, I have to do the smart thing and get back to the car business to make money, to make sure like I have enough money to support my family. So then I had to learn how to trade, working, my 9 to 5 job again. And it was stressful because then I started being a sales manager at the dealership. So not only was I managing an Acura and a Volvo dealership, but at the same time I was still trying to squeeze in looking at the charts while I was at work, and finding time in the morning before work or finding time at night before bed to still study and do what I needed to do. And at times I felt overwhelmed because I am working, I should say, 55, 60 hours a week, still finding time for the gym, finding time for my family, for my family and friends, and still do all the studying and things I need to do. But of course, not neglecting my job also, because I have people that depend on me to do a good job in my work so they can make money too. So there's a lot of stress. Like I can't let these people down, but I still want to trade and be successful. And at times it gave me a lot of anxiety because I was like, I want to do really good for my employees so they can make money and make a living for their family,
Yeah.
but I still want to trade. And there'd be times where the dealership would be, on fire, if you will, like a lot of chaos going on, and I'd be in the trade and I'd be in drawdown, and I'd be like, dude, like I just can't handle this, man. That's when I had that little breakdown, whenever it was, a month ago, 6 weeks ago. It was like, man, this is so much. I don't know if I can do it. But eventually I was like, I gotta dial it in. I gotta manage my stress between work and trading and make it separate. Like, my stress from my job can't stretch my trading. And if it is, then I just shouldn't trade. I'll take the day off.
Yeah.
And once I started kind of managing, like, okay, today's a good day, no stress. If there's a good trade, I'll take it.
Yeah, so I'll capitalize on two things you said. So it looks like you have to be a really good balancer between personal life, business life, and then trading life, which are completely separate things, completely separate animals. I completely agree. I don't think that it sucks that that happened to you. I think that it's actually beneficial in everybody's trading career that they go through some type of personal setback outside of the market to really test their character. You know, the market has ways of testing you, but your personal life has ways of testing you as well to see if you're really the type of person that can get back up after a setback and continue the momentum forward. I know that we've talked, and you know that I took on both my daughters full time. So now I have 4 hours pretty much in the day to get I mean, unless I wake up super early at like the crack of dawn at like 4 a.m., I'll have more time. But because of my age and because of how my body feels lately, I've been needing sleep more often than not. Um, so usually I'll wake up around 5. I usually have only been trading about 2 times per week now, a lot less than I used to, you know. Um, but now afternoon, after about 12 p.m., I have both my daughters full time. So it has been really difficult. I can relate to you on really figuring out how to balance your entrepreneurship life and the dreams and ambitions and aspirations that you have for your own life outside of your business endeavors and how you're putting food on the table for your family while you're taking on trading. Um,
Yep.
so that shows a lot of character within inside of your own ability to persevere, and obviously, of course, your ability to master these markets in all ways possible. Because a lot of people think it's just about like technical analysis, and then once you get the technicals down, oh, I can move on to fundamentals and this and that. But successful trading actually stems from the proper balance between what you do outside of the markets and then what you bring to the table when you come into the markets via the things that already happen to you outside of the markets. So that's really cool to see, man. Yeah, I remember you texting me a couple weeks back and you were like, I don't know, man. And I was like, man, as a matter of fact, I didn't even text you back that day, I think, because honestly, I was like, this dude's tripping. This dude's tripping right now. He needs a drink, he needs a cigar. Let him chill out. He'll come to his senses. And sure enough, I knew that you were going to, man. It's being a mentor and having been a mentor for the past couple of years. It's weird to say this, but like I don't want it to sound cocky either, but I can tell if someone's going to be successful or not at trading. Like some people are just cut for it. Some people I can just tell like they're not cut for it. You know, it's just like in the military. Some people are cut for war, some people aren't, you know. It's not like a bad thing, just some people aren't made for just like not everybody's made to play professional football, you know. All right, we'll move on to I think the last two questions. So because of your setbacks, did you have support from friends, from family members? Do you talk openly to your spouse, to your significant other, to friends and family members about your trading endeavors? Um, and if you didn't have any support, you know, how did you personally mentally build yourself up? What tips and tricks could you give to somebody that's maybe going through the same or similar thing that doesn't have the support? What advice, in a sense, would you give to somebody that doesn't have a supportive mechanism like a spouse, a friends, a community to go to, and they're going through trading and they're sucking right now?
Yeah, I'm very, 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 very fortunate, man. Like my wife is very supportive, always been very supportive. My hardest day, she believes in me more than I believe in myself. So I'm very, very thankful for her and everyone in the course. I had many people reach out to me in the course too and like tell me like I believe in you and you can do it, yourself. Jamie, my friends, and people in the course, like I said. So I'm very lucky. I am. If you didn't have that, I would recommend probably going to the gym or some kind of outlet where you vent your anger, vent your frustrations, whatever. Because the days where I didn't talk to people and I went to the gym and just crushed some weights, I immediately felt fine about it. If I lost a trade, go to the gym, crush some weights, and I'm like, it's all good, man. Like you lost a trade today. It's no big deal. But the days where I would take a trade and take a losing trade and just sulk on it, it just lingers forever. So
Yeah.
like you just have to go do something and get your mind off it, like go do something else, read a book, go to the gym, play a video game, whatever it is, and just get your mind off it. Because the more you focus on your loss, like the worse it hurts, honestly.
Yeah, so having a kind of a positive outlet, when you experience or take an L in trading that you can kind of fall back on, that's something positive outside of the markets to get your mind off of it, to put it in a nutshell.
Yep.
I like that, man. I think that self-doubt is one of the biggest things that you have to overcome as a trader, especially when you take a loss and especially when you take multiple losses in a row, you start to think, I can't do this. This isn't for me, this and that. Which kind of stems back to that personal belief mechanism that I mentioned at the beginning. You really have to have like an unprecedented connection, interconnection with yourself, and understanding that you will bounce back. Um, I myself, along with Justin, we're both, I wouldn't call us workout freaks, but we take very good care of our bodies. I go to the gym or work out in my garage at least 6 days out of the week. And if it wasn't for working out, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. That's like my scapegoat. Whenever I have a bad day, I try to focus all my negative energy in something positive, which has allowed me to be 30 years old and still in shape, good enough shape to run around with my daughters, do 100 push-ups and do 500, you know, sit-ups, whatever the case may be at any given point in time. And so that's really allowed me to take all the negative energy that I experience in trading and manifest that into something positive, get that positive energy that I experience outside the markets and bring it back to the markets to revisit and rethink my strategy if I need to. So that's really dope, man. It's cool to see other people doing that as well. And there's many people out there that do, but some people have such a hard time um, bouncing back from failures and setbacks. So other than that, man, I think that that's all that I had for today. I don't want this to be some unrealistic interview. Um, if I could just say one thing to you, man, it's really cool as I hate using the terminology influencer, but having created this community, having created a strategy, sitting down, going through the hardships that I hope nobody else has to experience in trading and taking losses and then reanalyzing data and figuring out what needs to be done in the market to become successful, giving that info to people on a consistent basis and then having them actually apply it is probably a much better feeling. Well, it's not probably, it is a much better feeling than making money. Like seriously, sitting on a call with other traders who use the CYPRX information to their benefit is seriously heartwarming. It's like, you know, you can make any amount of money in the world, and yeah, it can make you happy. It could change your situation. It can provide opportunities for you. But seeing other people benefit as well, and seeing other people come up and change their life for the better, hopefully over time, Justin looks back and he says, bro, thanks, man. I'm a millionaire now. And it's all because I joined your course a couple months back, couple years back, whatever the case may be. And, not asking anything in return, not saying, "Oh, Justin, you became a millionaire off the CyberX strategy. Send me some money now." No, like just being grateful and thankful that people, like-minded individuals like this gentleman here, have come onto the community, have made the things that we give and provide work, and really seeing that come into fruition. It's seriously brings tears to my eyes that multiple people in the community have been able to do that. So that's really cool. If you were to say anything to individuals listening before we hop off here, what would it be, man? If there's anything at all that you want to say, maybe about your personal investing career journey or some advice that you would give to a novice, beginner, or advanced trader that's kind of going through it right now.
I would just say stay the course, remain patient and never give up. It eventually pays off. You had a
Yeah.
couple rough weeks and I went to the gym and you had a couple good workouts and I said, you know what? I was being really negative and in a bad spot, but now we turn the course and we become the oil king.
It's crazy. You say never give up. You asked me about the poster, the CyberX poster. And in my living room, like the big canvas that I have says CyberX Superior Trading, and it says keep your composure, never give up. That's
Yeah.
like one of the easiest things to go by. Like if you just calm yourself down, you analyze why you took a loss, figure out what you're doing wrong. It's not the market messing you up, it's you messing you up. It's you soaking up bullshit on the internet, bullcrap influencer information, or you're not actually, another thing, I'll just, since we're here, we're on this topic. If you do end up joining a community, okay, please go through all the content. If you pay for something, if you spend your money investing into education, go through all the educational content, go through the process that it actually takes to compete with individuals like myself or like Justin or hedge funds or financial institutions or algorithms that control these markets. You know, don't think that you're just going to come into this game and get lucky. Don't think you're going to come into this game and spend 2 weeks on the charts, downloading an application, swing trading your favorite pair, making millions of dollars. That's not what it takes. Let's all, again, hopefully here at CYPRX, we've been showing you guys, we've been trying to get people to tap in, right? Bring people up with us. Not everybody wants the juice, man. Not everybody wants the juice. But yeah, man, I'll end the recording here. I'll chat with you offline for just a couple of minutes, bro. But thank you, man. I appreciate you for doing this recording with me. It's really, really great to see you in this position.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, man, for everything you do and for everyone. I mean it.
100%.